We've received a transmission from the planet Thandril. Shall we give it a listen?
I'm calling you because my planet is sick. And not the monarchy, not the royal guard, not a single person on this spinning rock seems to care. It started gradually. First, it got into our heads. By the time I realized something was wrong, by the time I woke up, they were already here. Things look perfect at first glance, but that's how the aliens work. That's how the invasion starts. A slow boil. I'm calling you because I can't trust anyone here. You're off planet, you're a professional, and I'm afraid we might already be dead.
Flynn? How shall I respond?
It's a job. Let's suit up.
And we are live again. Welcome everybody back from the old show to the new show, and welcome to my fantastic guests here today, Clint Stoker and Charlie Snogans. How are you going, guys?
Very good. What
Yeah.
an exciting trailer! Can I go out and see that right now? I'll wait long. I'll get COVID. I'll do it. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'll
We
sit next
also
to a
have-
sick person.
We also have Mr. Blue has joined us again. How you going there, Blue?
What?
Again?
What just happened?
You jumped over to a new stream.
I feel like I got yanked through a wormhole. Anyway, where's Joe?
Where is Joe? Guys, it is fantastic to meet you finally. I know fate itself, destiny, was trying to stop this thing from happening, but we finally got it done. Anyone here in the chat, I don't need to call them out you all again. Usually at the top of the show I'll say hello to everyone, but we said hello to you all in the last stream, so we won't do that again. You guys all know how much of a fan I am of this book from the moment I saw it. I don't think I've ever seen a book before that I'm like, I'm backing that right now. And I think it was just off one image. And, you know, Clint, I've been watching your channel since, you know, back in the old days, since pretty much you launched it. So, you know, it's really surreal and cool to have you guys here and just to see, you know, everything you've done, Clint. With your channel and your comics, yeah.
Thank you.
I'm like, I'm so happy this show is finally happening.
I feel bad. So a lot of this was me mixing up time zones because it's all of the streams and then it's like calculating. I'm going off Easter time even though I'm in Mountain time, and that's super throwing me off. So I appreciate you accommodating us.
I thought you were Pacific time.
No.
You're 2 hours
No
ahead
wonder.
of me?
No
2
wonder.
hours.
It's all crazy.
How many clocks do you guys have on your walls? Do you have all the different, like you're in the airport, all the different clocks running?
I really should because it's always like a calculation. I haven't made a mistake, but today I made very big mistakes. So, but we survived. So,
Wait, 2 hours ahead. Charlie, are you in the ocean?
I am. I live in Atlantis. It's true. It's always been there.
Did
you mean-
the quality of the art? Yes.
Did you mean 2 hours behind?
I'm 2
It's
hours.
all good.
Anyway,
behind
Clint, nice to meet you.
something.
nice to meet you too.
I don't do time zones, man. It's all crazy. That's why I always just say, always stick with just Eastern. Everyone else just figure it out. That's the one I'm locking with. Even though I'm in Australia, which is, you know, I don't even know how far off it is from Eastern. It doesn't matter. But yeah, you start, if you're campaigning and then you're doing live streams, I need a calendar. This is the first time in my life I've ever had a calendar.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, this would not happen.
Wait,
Yeah,
this
it-
is the first.
it's
What have you
intense.
been doing until now? Just digging in a coal mine
just-
with no eye on the clock?
Yeah, you just get up. You know when it's time to get up. You go to work, and then you come home, and you can figure out what day it is usually. But yeah, all this business with streaming and everything, especially with the campaign. That's why I mean I'm not upset at all, Clint. I know exactly what is happening to you right now with the whole campaign. I mean, it is nuts. I just did
Yeah.
my first one a couple of months ago, and I mean, people have said to me, "This is gonna change your life." You realize this is not going to be normal for a while, and I was like, "Yeah, it's going to be intense." No, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Absolutely no idea.
And I keep thinking, oh, it'll, I'll get the hang of it. This is my third one, but it's just so exhausting. And then I don't know. It's always just like, what should I be doing right now? If you have a free moment, and then other times you're on streams and you're like, this is the best use of time. And I don't know. It's crazy.
It is insane. Talking about insane, I'm just gonna have to jump right into this. Let me share something here, which is the campaign page. Charlie, where the hell did you come from? Seriously, I heard you saying on a stream you were a like a, what are they called? An artist that were you working for?
Illustrator.
Freelance.
Advertising or something?
I'm a freelance illustrator, man. I've spent almost all my time in advertising, and I've always kept an eye on comics because I love comics. All those years you spend to put that square peg into the round hole. That's not a sex act. That's just a saying in America. The square peg in a round hole, and
Well, that's how that works.
yeah. It's a lot of Vaseline, but it does get in. And so all these years, I've had to make sure that I don't end up looking like a Sears sweater Ed's drawings. And got to keep it cool, got to keep it rocking, and don't let them institutionalize you. Keep up the good
I'm
fight.
being called out in my chat. I didn't say hello to Antoine. He wasn't in the last stream. Hello, Antoine. It's great to see you here, buddy. Fantastic. Charlie, what? Clint,
Yeah,
look at this page.
I know. It's gorgeous.
I'm glad you like it, man. This is.
I mean,
For years, my artwork was going to board meetings, and there were board people there, and occasionally somebody would come and said, "Hey, those were good storyboards," but I mean, it had to be boring on purpose. So underneath that was this writhing mass that was just waiting to get out. It was waiting for Clint Stoker's plots, and him to point me in the direction to fire these blasters.
So that jumps into something you guys have said on several streams, that this was Marvel method with the exact script coming later, but the plots came first. So Charlie, how much room did he give you in those plots to generate, these little insets and whatnot, as far as plotting the story goes?
I just had a couple loose characters in action, and I had this idea that this guy would be up in this battle in the sky, and there'd be these two girls watching him from a tower. And as soon as I had three drawings of that, and I showed Clint, and Clint, without pause. I don't know, Clint, how long did it take you? It seemed to me, it was as if he didn't pause and volleyed back to me this whole plot and this idea, and it was just, he pulled it out of the head of Zeus and presented it to me almost instantaneously.
No,
And I said, "Holy shit! I've been waiting for you for 30 years."
I had
Don't let your wife hear that.
I had
you
two
complete me.
I had two bad ideas first. But to me, I saw. So I've been in a kind of a similar situation, not exactly, kind of a similar situation a few years ago with an artist who's like, I have a story I want to do, but I don't write or anything, and so I had some ideas for the story, and I really tried to make it my story, and it didn't work out very well. And so now seeing this, when Charlie came to me, he had a few, a character design and some action, an action sequence, And to me, I was like, here's another shot for me to pitch the best story. So I had two ideas that weren't great. I don't think they were terrible. They weren't great. But then I had the idea of the Exterminator, and to me, like that was the nugget that made this to me a lot more interesting. It was his job that was so different. So I put the pitch together. I thought, to me, I was like, this has to be good because I really want to work with Charlie. So I just, I don't know, tried to be timely about it and get it to him. But I don't know, it was one of those moments. It was just like, I don't know, this idea not really exciting to me. And then that one little twist with what is his occupation, then that sort of filled everything in. So, and then Charlie and I we called each other on the phone and we worked out a plot together. The cool thing is he had ideas of things that he wanted to draw, like locations. And so it was like, okay, let's work this into the plot. So what I love about it is that Charlie gets to draw things that he is excited about. And then I get to write things that excite me. And so it's just been kind of a fun process how we put the plot together. And then, as far as like individual scenes, Charlie really, he just takes it away. The crowd scene, everyone always brings up, you made Charlie draw that crowd scene. He chose to draw that crowd scene, which is the cool part. He took the bull by the horns, but it just creates such a great moment. The dialogue, I can't wait till we get that lettered, because I think the dialogue and the lettering are just going to bring the whole thing together, and it tells just that one scene, that double page spread that you'll see when we get there. But
All right,
it tells a whole story.
We are in danger of blowing far too much smoke up these guys' asses. So we do have to point out Mobig's chat here. The best part of tonight's stream is that we get to hear from Clint without hearing his oral vasectomy of a theme song. Mo, shots fired. Oh my goodness.
Savage.
He's very savage. That's the kind of people.
Was that a critique?
Well, have you not met? You've never met Mo Biggs yet.
Yeah, meet Mo Biggs, our resident entertainer. Comics with Drew, man. I could go on for an hour. I'm not going to. I could go on for an hour about how awesome this page is, the paneling, the movement, the line art, the colors, even Eric is firing on all fronts here with the letters as well. It's just, I mean, you've nailed it. Oh, this is even before we get started on the story. This is the first thing I saw, wasn't it? This is one of the first things you shared, Clint.
Yeah, that's page one.
Yeah. This is the beginning.
I was looking at this guy sitting in his spaceship. You've got these pink colors. There's stuff everywhere. It's not Star Trek. This is gritty, messy, dirty space. And you know what it actually did? I don't know if anyone's pointed this out to you yet, but for me, I was taken back to the really fun, zany Space Quest games from the 90s. Where you'd go to all these different locations and they just put in really weird stuff, and immediately, so I had that hook for me. And then I remember, Charlie, I think the first time I saw your art was in Jawbreakers. Was that the first one that you did?
Yeah, I did 10 pages in Jawbreakers. I did the backup story with the rebirth of Zashi.
Oh,
and
okay.
And Zach actually had said, he'd said, this guy Charlie, he's like Todd McFarlane, good. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what are you talking about, Zach? Come on, there's no guy just getting around who I've not heard of who's Todd McFarlane good. So when I got, I'm like, I want to check this guy out. What the hell? Oh shit! You've really catapulted yourself.
He very kindly said that, and when somebody has that nice of a compliment, you make sure people repeat it. And say it over and over again.
Exactly, man. What's going on here in your art? It's when I think of the best artists working right now, I'm thinking of you. I'm thinking of Rob Willis. I'm thinking of Aaron Alfecci. I'm thinking of guys in Comicsgate, because this is just blowing my mind.
Thank you. So I'm just think of it. I'm a roast, and baste me. You can just
I will. Don't you worry about it.
I'm in
You're
the
not
flash
even
dance.
you're not even
in the
going to be able to go to
flash dance
bed. It won't fit. Your head won't fit on your pillow after this stream. Don't you worry about it.
Well,
Well,
I'll
what-
tell you guys, I am such a big fan of both of you guys. I have given myself a Clint Stoker tribute haircut for tonight.
Yeah.
Thunder buns.
And
I'm honored.
after my wife sees this, I'll be shaving the rest off and giving myself a Charlie Snogans tribute haircut for tomorrow.
There you
do you
go. Don't
do you have a before picture? That's great. I want.
It was only just growing back.
This is what the theme music does. That's all it takes.
It's the theme music from Sweetcast. What can I say?
Yeah.
I had no idea. I had no idea he was going to do that. Imagine if we had have pushed the show, Clint, to another day, and he's got to explain to his wife he's got to keep that for another few days.
And then
what-
you could
Oh,
experience
man.
every day of my life.
Thunderbuns. I didn't even know. I met you on RT Bear's stream, the
Yes, sir.
Pontificators.
Yes,
And
he
you
is
were-
a
you were-
pontificator.
You were. It was all obscured. You had the do rag on and sunglasses. I assumed you have a Harley. You've got the look. I just trimmed my beard back. I was nearing what you're doing there. That's beautiful. I dig it. But was your hair long when I met you? It was just hidden.
No, that was a wig.
Oh, okay. I was fooled. I was completely
Joe
Yeah.
is the Joe is the instigator of our new Comicsgate is a hat group
Yep.
meme that we're trying to get started here. We're taking it back. We're going to be a hat group. This is the infamous crowd scene. I don't know if I've actually seen this colored. I haven't been back onto your page since I backed.
There's a few, and now I'm realizing, dang it! Charlie sent me 2 other pages that were colored to swap in, and I still haven't done that.
Clint,
So
dropping the ball.
I've got 2 more. Maybe I can secretly do that as we're going, and then I'll tell you when to refresh.
Do you want me to
Yeah,
explain what this page is? What's happening here? This
Do
crazy
it.
There's a
crowd scene.
lot.
All right. So it's so far away because it is a double page spread. So there's all sorts of aristocrats down there in all of their beautiful attire, and many of them are attached to their sort of drones, and each drone is filled with intoxicants and entertainment and advertisements and communication and everything you could ever want. It's your purse combined with your cell phone and your drinks. And they're all down there and they're enjoying the lap of luxury. There's even this energy tube / hot tub that's in the middle, and that's where everyone's sort of congregating. They're enjoying. It's a cocktail party. It's a spa. It's a treatment. It's a way of life. And over by the window, looking out at the first page that you were enjoying, that is lettered by Eric, where Flynn is hanging off the side of that barge, firing his blaster down at those beasts. He calls in on his wrist communicator, and the ballistic missiles are all shot off because he's in trouble there, and that's why he's got the helmet down finally. And there's Moxie. She's looking out the window, and she's saying, "Look up there, look up behind us. This is the action that we want to be a part of. This is so boring. Nothing happens in here." And over there in the top right, experiencing her own ennui in the middle of the party. Yeah, we don't want to go out there. It's nice. Let's stay in here and smoke cigarettes, and the life that we can enjoy is right here, huh? And Moxie's saying, no, it's out there. It's out there. We can live. We can be a part of this. And she's yelling across the room where all these stuck-up aristocrats are. And then she goes bounding across the room, and that sort of silhouetted panel at the bottom, she bounces across the room and is pointing back up out the window and saying, "Come on, we gotta go. Just think of all the things we could do out there." And the girl in the tub, that's her bodyguard / lady's maid, Secret Service, and she's going to try and discourage her because she's been out there and she knows it's a little harder. It's a lot harder and a lot rougher than what they've been a part of in this plastic, fantastic, sealed up life inside. So they will venture out, and the city below is rougher, and the hinterlands out there are way rougher. So,
this purple woman, as it were, so she's not just in the stuck-up society. She's experienced.
Yeah, she's from the outside, and she sort of has something around her neck that looks a little bit restrictive and a little bit bondagey. That's because she is bonded to Moxie in red with the black jacket. So they are connected, and she does have to do what Moxie says. Moxie is part of the aristocracy, and the girl in purple and pink, that's Kit. She is the servant. Think of Downton Abbey, right? With all of its properness, there's a little bit of that going on here. She has to do as she's told. And there's the city below back there in one of those towers. These girls are there, and here's Flynn before he calls in the rockets, this is just when he's about to find out how much danger he's in, because he didn't understand what he was getting into as he's blasting at these creatures, and they're a cresting wave that's about to spill on top of him. And this is just before he throws his helmet down and calls in for the ballistic missile strike. So it's all part. This is all part of the 10-page intro that we've seen. It's kind of out of order the way that we're seeing it.
Yeah, and if you refresh it, I added a couple more color pages as well. So,
wow.
And
First
that's
look, huh?
just that little bit kind of shows you like there's symbolism throughout, in these little things, these little interactions, and that's why it's been so fun to write this. Like I said, doing dialogue for that scene, it's just so fun because it makes me like, okay, I need to make there some symbolism behind the dialogue, and I don't know, it's just been so fun, especially because of how these characters all interact. There's just some really great chemistry between characters. It's a little different from what it's not teenage kids like I've been used to at Downcast. So it's just fun, so much fun.
And Clint's dialogue is it's poppy, and sometimes if you read a comic book, you read somebody says I don't know, time to die, metalhead, and then you go I don't know. Clint,
can you say that to Clint when you're like, Clint? No.
Well, he never has. I read
Time to die,
when I was reading Downcast, and although that actually, when we say it again, it didn't sound that bad. Reading Downcast, the dialogue between Jax and what's the brother's name?
Jackson Joanne, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, Jax and Joanne. Just reading it, I was like, it's poppy, it's clean, it feels real. He gave them, as he explained to me, because I said, you made them sound real. He said, I gave them voice. I said, oh, this is a writer's thing, voice? Okay.
That's
I'll take it.
Final Thunderbuns, you're an editor, right? Isn't it? That's what I
Indeed.
was saying. Like the biggest thing that the editors are looking for, publishers, is voice from a writer.
Yeah, when I edited Flying Fortress for Eric Weathers, one of the first things I told him was that, okay, I understand that when you guys created the original 8-issue limited series, you guys were not pro writers. And one of the things I'm going to let you know is, as an editor, when I read, your work from those previous years, all these characters sound the same. So one of the first things I'm going to do is recommend that we give each of these characters their own unique voice, which expresses their unique personality that in your mind, each of these characters have. But the reader doesn't know it unless they read it through each character's unique voice. So absolutely, Clint. One of the best ways that you can get a reader to buy into who these characters are and identify with them and care about them is give them a unique voice.
Yeah. Which isn't easy to do. I think when I brought that up, though, it was like reading through Jawbreakers the first time, and it was like the one thing is because the writer has their own voice, and you'll see that come through. But then, you want to have unique voice for every character. But that was one thing that sticks out to me with your boy Zach, is that he's got voice. If you can do that, that's the most coveted. That's something that is going to make your writing so much better. So
yeah, and wasn't that's one of his biggest criticisms, if I remember. If you almost took all of his videos, and what he's making fun of is the SJW's sort of, oh my God, totes so
they all talk the same,
yada yada yada, right? I guess they grew up. They had the same teacher in every class that they went to.
Well-
and they all had the same opinion, and then they all left school and they all had the same ideas and they all had the same thoughts, and they put the same voice across all the comics into all the characters.
Well, even on top of that, I think they're not they were not writing comic book characters. They're not writing story characters. That's their voice, the actual writer's voice, as a mouthpiece. So it's actually, they probably talk exactly how their characters talk because it's them.
Yeah.
And on
And
top of
that's
that,
how they write on Twitter too. Like
Yeah.
I think of like Gail Simone. I don't make it personal, but Gail Simone, when she types stuff on Twitter, it's like the same voice that she uses in comics. It's weird.
Well, and our main character here, he's a guy he's not quite like Clint or me. He's sort of a loner out on the move, and he probably drinks too much. He probably smokes too much. He doesn't keep a neat room. His spaceship is a little more like a repairman's truck. There's shit just rattling around inside, and
I love this so much.
so it's Clint's self-insert. Got it.
He's the
Clint
opposite
looks
of
like
Clint.
Oh,
Clint might look
Clint's
like a murderer.
fantasy
but-
self-insert. Okay.
What have you got there in the background, Clint? You've got a Turtles game.
Oh,
Oh man.
Yeah, okay. That's new actually. I've been wanting arcade for a long time. It's just one of those arcade one-ups. So it's like a 3/4 scale
Yep.
one, and it has the little riser, so you can stand up on it and stand up to it and play it. It's a little bit smaller, but I actually think it's perfect because I can move it myself. I could change rooms. One of the original arcades would be that'd be pretty difficult to do, I think. But
This is
he
yeah,
can
what
move it
happens
himself.
if you,
But what Clint isn't telling you is that he's actually 6'8" and 340 pounds.
if you get a successful YouTube channel and then do a couple of crowdfunds, you too can get your own Turtles arcade game.
That's right. Yeah.
How many pages is going to be in this book?
So we're planning 52 pages for the story. We just added a fan art section, so there'll be some pages there. We'll probably do some extras and things like that. But for the story, we're planning 52 pages.
When people come on, I don't usually do the hard sell. I usually let the guys the creators sell it themselves. But if you're not, it's 52 pages of this. Seriously, if you're not on this, what the hell are you doing? Look at this stuff.
Dude, I dig your hard sell. This is the
man.
page. He's on top of the barge here. So this is before he's on the side, right? And this is the first creature he's come in contact with. And he gets down there, and maybe he's looking around, and he spots this thing, and it comes bounding towards him, and he goes to fire this blaster at it, and it easily evades his shots, and that's his first surprise. Then it's quickly on top of him, and that's his second surprise. And there's his robot pal Eldridge floating above him, who you hear his voice in the trailer first. He says Flynn, shall we accept this transmission, I think. And so here the robot's floating above him saying something along the lines of, a little harder than you thought it was, eh? Not quite as you expected. And he's underneath this snarling, oozing beast trying to get his blast off, and it's going, you see it's in this 3-point stance over him, dripping all this bile and goo down on him, and he's trying to get his blast off, and he's in a precarious situation. Oh, and then if you go to the next page, there you go. There's on the left, there's the floating, rickety, rusty barge that's
These are new
outside the
colors.
city. Yeah. And there's his laser blasts. He's a tiny speck on top of that floating barge, and there's this other ship floating above the barge. And so he's capable. He was just, I guess, taken by surprise, not knowing what he was dealing with. He shifts his weight and tosses this heavy beast over his shoulder. Then in that middle panel on the right, he's tossing it, and then in that I guess the fourth panel there, he's running away, firing over his shoulder. Leaving town, firing a 6-gun. That's called a punitive withdrawal. That's what we got there. Is he's blasting specifically the highest. There's more of these beasts dropping out of this ship above, and he really has no idea what to make of the situation now. It's not what he expected, and he's got in his hand a little blue grenade of some kind. We asked Scott McCullough to name it. And he goes leaping off the side of this barge and tosses the grenade back between his legs to maybe get rid of more of those guys at once. And then he goes careening down the side, and he does. There's a little swing in action, and then he ends up on the side, and that's where that first page on top is. And this is a page much later in the book. That bottom black and white one, that's page 16 or so. And this is back in the middle of that aristocratic party, and that guy on the left, that's where you heard Clint wrote that dialogue. That's who calls. Am I giving that away? Are we keeping that? I guess that's not giving it
I
away.
think it's okay. We've said it, but I've said it before too. But yeah, the voice in the trailer, yeah.
That's the emergency transmission. This guy is part of the Royal Guard. Is that what you called it?
Yep. So
the
Lieutenant...
Royal Guard. And there on the steps, Clint's beautifully named Fosca. She has come down the steps, and this seems to be the tyrannical figure, the tyrannical matriarch. And she's a tyrant because he kind of did the right thing. He called for help. But a real tyrant sometimes punishes people that do the right thing. That's how you know they're a real tyrant, right? You can't get a good beat on them. And she's opened up her cloak there, and out come these serpents that are on the middle left panel 2. They're slithering around towards him. And then in that middle panel 3, they're starting to spiral up his neck just as this poor sap is realizing he's in a little more trouble than he even thought. This isn't just a stern talking to. And the horror in his eye, and she in the middle panel watches coolly as in the bottom left panel, the snakes are spiraling all the way up him, and she's raising up her hand, and they're spiraling around him, and then she gives it the final clutch and twist, and they start to squeeze him for good as he
the crack,
the snap, crackle, and the pop and the crack of his tendons and his bones. You can't see it there; it's a little small, but both of his arms are breaking in half. And he's screaming in agony. He is about to be reduced to a little pile of nothing. And that's a little taste of what's to come.
Hey, Clint, do you have a black and white version on the campaign?
We do. I knew people were going to ask for that. So we do have a black and white version. We're calling it the Artist Edition. It's the same size because for shipping reasons, in hindsight, I think I could have made it bigger and just had it shipped separately and changed the price. It would have changed things. But we've got artist version that is same size, no coloring, no lettering. You can just pour over the line art and enjoy it. So we've got perks with both, so you can get the color version with the story and then get the artist edition, so you can really dig into it.
So Charlie, you work digitally, right?
Yeah, man.
Okay. Because that was Clint just answered one of my questions about the artist edition. It's the same. Normally, when you see an artist edition, it's scans with all the blue line and tape and whiteout and everything on it for traditional. So I was wondering about, and they're usually full size. Is this going to be? I don't know how you process things digitally. You in particular. So will there be any background sketches like red line, blue line underneath the ink, or is it just inked finish?
No, I mean, I guess I don't preserve the relics as I go. It's just I make the layout, I make the roughs. A lot of times I do it in almost a storyboard fashion. I know it has to get done on the page. If you take a look at that page that's at the bottom of the screen there, if you scroll up just a little bit, that started basically as 5. Those were 5 same-sized boxes, and I knew what I wanted to get done. That main image that's sort of the main vignette, that was one vertical panel, and it was several boxes, and as I kept drawing, it just got good to me. But then it just took over the page, and everything became arranged around it, and then as I go, I just delete what's underneath it. So there's no non-repro blue underneath that anybody's gonna see. It's just all trashed as I go. And as we're saying, I'm remember to save the black and whites too, because that's gonna be important down the line.
I was the first day backer, so I had just forgotten basically, but I just went in and checked, and I'm very thankful. Yes, I got the wraparound cover plus the artist edition.
That's what I got too.
Yeah,
Great. Thanks,
Great.
guys, for
Thank
supporting
you.
it.
Yeah,
Oh.
and there was something. I've been looking at these pages, and there was something that was just nagging at my brain, and that I knew was in here as an element. And I told Charlie when he was on with Art and I, that I definitely saw influences from classical illustrators like Sargent and Rockwell, and there's a couple of others who I definitely can see elements of that in his work. But there's something else, and it was just bugging me so much, and I was like, what is it? What is it? And tonight, when you showed that black and white page of the serpents and the guy getting crushed and all that, it finally clicked. To me, I see a Conan meets Flash Gordon
Yeah.
mashup here. And it was the Conan that was escaping me. I couldn't figure it out. But finally I did, because all of the quote-unquote bugs that Flint is trying to exterminate, they have this very animalistic quality to them. And then when you guys showed that page in black and white, it reminded me of Buscema's Conan work. And I was like, that's it. This story, to me, from the preview art I've seen, is Flash Gordon meets Conan.
Cool.
Absolutely, man. I'm a huge Frazetta fan. And when I was a kid, here's a sad thing to admit. When I was a kid, I think Buscema was drawing Spectacular Spider-Man, and I had the subscription. And that was the one book that came to my house. And I didn't like the art. I was like, what do these always look like this for? These are not as fun as other stuff I see. And it was only recently that I saw the Buscema. You say Buscema, right?
Well, I know that Stan Lee pronounced it Buscema, so that's just how I've said
So I
it.
say it, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It was only recently that I saw that. That stuff is some of the most beautiful artwork out there. And once I was in school and everybody was obsessed with Frazetta. I still didn't catch up. I liked Sargent. I liked Rockwell.
Yeah.
And I did submit at Marvel a couple times as an 18-year-old, and had talked to very nice people, and they stole one of my drawings and turned it into a book. That's the price you pay for putting your art out there. It's going to happen, even if people don't mean it that way. Right. I had my first cavity drilled, came home and drew a couple pages about, from the point of view of inside the teeth, people drilling cavities and these menacing dentists. And after I just walked in, it was 1998 or 99 and pre 9/11 world. I would just walk around in Manhattan, and I went to Marvel offices and just said, I just walked into the wherever and just was looking for anybody to give artwork to. I don't know, they took it, and I ended up talking to a couple nice guys on the phone. I can't remember their names, but they were very friendly. And then several months later, I saw on the shelves of the comic shop a Punisher book that had cool artwork on the cover. I think it was Quesada drew it, and I opened the book, and the whole book
What a
was
surprise.
Yeah, what a surprise.
The whole book was from the interior of someone's mouth. And Frank Castle is torturing someone by drilling all their teeth out.
Wow.
And I thought, holy shit. They just took my angle and ran with it. They based a whole book on this position. And
Hey, Charlie, have you ever spoken with Vinny Tartamella? You guys
No,
sound
I
like
haven't.
you have a little bit in common.
Oh, yeah.
That's true. I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta thank Skip Edwards. He sent a super chat 499. Thank you so much. He said since Bancroft took a long lunch. Thank you, Skip. Thank you, buddy. I did actually have lunch before, so sucker. It's all right. No, thank you very much for that. No, Vinny has stories. He could go all night, especially on Joe, about how God. I don't know how many times it's happened to him, but man, they stole so much of his artwork. That's crazy. But hey, Clint, you won in the end. You got Charlie.
I made a video several months ago, wintertime sometime, and I was just talking about Charlie's artwork. It might have been the first video where I kind of introduced, and got to kind of get people prepped for this book that's coming. And I remember saying, could have been working with Marvel, he could have been working with DC, but joke's on you, he's working with me or something like that. But the more I think about that too, I'm just like they're not. It's almost like they're not looking for the best talent. They're looking for cheap talent that they can just get books done and get them out the door, which is it's crazy. It's like
or someone with social clout where they think they can capitalize on whatever social clout they think that person's has, especially in the YA novel market. So many of those YA novelists that I've seen where they bring them in to try and write comics, I think they're really hoping that they will somehow bring their YA novel audience over to comics. And I have yet to see it happen, but it seems like that's what they're really expecting they're going to get out of these people.
You guys are just describing the failure of leeches. You know, that's it. I mean, Quesada just leeches a story angle from a submitted art. I don't know if you meant Quesada did the book or just did the cover, but it's in his character. I mean, Marvel has become an extension of his scumbaggery, for lack of a better term.
The problem is he's such a good artist. The pages look beautiful. I was.
Yeah, but he might just be lazy. That's the problem.
Or not.
You know, and
he can draw, but he's not creative.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Everyone seems to have something bad to say. I don't know anything about him other than his artwork is nice. And not only when you're in a big corporate setting like that, who knows? Maybe one of those guys that saw my artwork then showed somebody else, and then somebody went into his office and pitched to him, "Hey, what if you did the whole thing from the point of view of inside the mouth, Chief? Go with it, you know." And maybe Quesada wasn't the dirtbag in the situation.
So I think we would think that if there haven't been other stories. That's the only thing. Yeah,
there's a pattern. Stories. Yeah, there's a pattern of ripoffs there.
Yeah. But speaking of stories, back to ours. I have a story question and an art question. So Clint, you first. What's been in terms of doing the Marvel method for this book, where you give him a plot, he gives you back pages, and then you got to figure out the dialogue to make it work. What's been the learning curve hurdle that you overcame? Where did it turn tough?
So it gets a little tough when the page, like I'm planning on one kind of pacing, you know what I mean? Like the scene will be a little bit faster paced, you know what I mean? And then it ends up being a little bit longer. And so to me, part of it is, okay, so I need to accomplish a few other things with sort of the internal conflict and introducing external conflict in these pages. And so honestly, it's kind of easier than full script in a lot of ways because of that. And what I mean by that is when you write full script and you're sent it to an artist, at least for me, I'm not like cracking the whip and you have to draw exactly unless there's something very, very important. But I try to give artists a little bit of freedom. So they'll change things up a little bit. And then I kind of have to go back and make sure that the dialogue is fitting and that it really works with what they've done. Mm-hmm. In this case, I'm kind of just skipping a step, basically. And so we're going from plotting, I see the artwork, to then doing sort of that go back step. So it has been a bit of a learning curve in that, I just have to make sure that I'm including these important like internal conflict or, how they're going to be growing as a character, where there are conflicts between characters. And that's something that Charlie and I have talked about at length. Just make sure that there's conflict between these characters. Even on the very first page where we have dialogue, you've got conflict between Flynn and Eldridge. And so as long as there's conflict, double page spread here too, there's great character interaction, there's conflict that's going on. And so that I just have to make sure that that's always there so I can drive the story forward and develop those characters. So hope that answers your question.
Oh yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
And the art question?
Oh, well, you're almost there. This panel that you're bringing down, that one with his feet up, I like it. Mostly it strikes me as a little bit Sam Keithish because of the feet are just so disproportionately huge. and it's expressionistically, it's that tired at the end of the day thing, if you know what I mean. Your feet feel heavy. And I used to wear boots quite a bit working in kitchens or whatnot. You kind of need that. Some places are just gross, but I like this. But then there's a but. Sorry. As I look at it, it's kind of like, what's going on? I can't tell the perspective. So expressionistically, it's fine. Why are his feet so big in this? Like, I can't tell where the are they on? They're on top of the monitor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because it just looks like they're closer to me, but I like them big anyway. So
he's a big dude.
Yeah,
and he's wearing a spacesuit. So his feet might not be as giant as those boots are. This is a man outfitted for the job, and you can see, maybe not exactly on the low res through the YouTubes, but there's dirt on those boots too. You're saying boots are important. You come home at the end of the day and you take your boots off. And Vincent Van Gogh painted a beautiful painting, and it's just boots, dirty boots sitting on a floor, right?
Yeah.
Because your boots, that means you've worked hard. You've done something. They're filthy and they're dirty. This is not a pristine character. Like I said, he's rolling around in his rickety van through space, and this might be a spacesuit, but those are dirty boots up there, and you can see on his heel there's dirt dripping off of there onto his console down there, and it's that middle hero has huge feet.
I'm a 13, Luke. I'm with you.
To me, it looks almost like a kind of really wide angle lens, like a fisheye. I don't know if it actually is, because the ship might just be strangely shaped, but it does have that sort of like those proportions where things on the outside are like it's like you're zooming into it.
And that wraparound cover, the buildings bend in it the same way. Yeah.
Something that I've kind of noticed them where I look at Charlie's art too, and he's talked to me about this a little bit, but everything's, I don't know the words he used, but elastic. And like he'll have, when, in the one page where all the claws are there, everything's so close. And he plays with, distance a lot. Even in this too, he's explained this before, but the distance it just sort of emphasizes what you want. Everything is so elastic in the scene, and along with like arms and legs and things like that. And it's kind of I don't know, it's what's so interesting about the storytelling element of this. If that makes sense. Charlie could probably speak to it better than I can.
Everything is in movement.
That's the Sam Keith, the kind of the Sam Keith thing I got out of it was the elasticity of everything.
Everything's in movement, and everything's in service to how it feels, right? So I'm never. There'll be plenty of people, if they're looking close. That's if somebody has a criticism, why are your feet like this? The lighting doesn't work here. What do you? Beautiful. Then the criticism is wholeheartedly taken, and don't ever be concerned that I would ever be offended. All I've done for 20 years is change artwork for people. So
well, don't fix his boots in that shot. It was just like something was just catching my attention, and it's because of it's the Sam Keith thing,
I'm gonna push and pull everything just for how it feels, and maybe it won't work out. It's every aspect of reality or lighting or what it should be is going to be laid on the altar of what it can accomplish on the page, and how to make it feel, and how to make it cool. That's
if
it.
If you go back to that double page, I'm sorry, the wraparound cover, Michael, it's got the fisheye lens effect, which is I think is really cool.
And what you just said, Charlie, about it's going to be, I'm paraphrasing what you said. I interpret it as you saying it's going to be in service to making it look cool. And that is a nice little callback, in my opinion, to what Michael was saying about someone telling him, hey, I think it was your boy Zach that Michael said, this is the next McFarlane. And McFarlane, when asked, well, why did you do this? Why did you do that? why did you make Spidey look like this contortionist in midair? Blah 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 blah. And he
Because
said,
it's cool.
because it looks
cool.
cool.
That's
And
it.
if I
That's
have to
all we're
choose,
doing.
yeah, if I have to choose between, 100% accurate perspective or making it look cool, he said, I'm going to choose looking cool every time, and I'm not going to apologize for it.
No.
Absolutely, man. That's perfectly said. I mean, whatever blast is coming out of the gun, or there that thing's getting its head blown off, and could he make that jump? I don't know, but that's
Who cares?
who cares, man? He's leaping off the front of that thing. Should there be a footprint on there? I even sacrificed that just for it's also because it's got to be cool and it's got to be clear. If you make
Yeah.
something confusing, you lose people, right? So, especially handing it off. If you're going to hand it off to a colorist, the colorist's first job is to keep everything clear, right?
Mhm.
And then step two is elaborate. But step one is keep it clear, so everybody knows. Here's the face. Here's his arm. Whose arm is this? And yeah, absolutely. Keep it pounding. Keep it moving. Keep it exciting. Keep it cool.
On top of all that, another thing that you've really just knocked out of the park here is this world that I mean, how many pages have we seen? 5, 6? I already feel like it is so real. It feels so lived in. It feels like, I could go into any one of these little rooms in the background or one of these buildings and find someone in there, and that just adds so much to the story. It really is a testament to how you guys have put this together. Your boy Zach.
yeah.
Oh, sorry, go on.
Oh, I was just going to say that I think this is one of the major benefits of doing something in the Marvel method is that, again, like when we were going through plotting, Charlie wants to draw, this, what do you call it? The seedy underbelly. You know what I mean? Like the stuff that he wants to draw and that excites him and where he sees world building opportunities, we're putting that first, and having, I don't know, doing that is definitely a huge advantage of writing a story this way. And I think, again, just in the pages that you've seen so far, the whole book, by the time you see the whole book, it's going to be so immersive, even just for 52 pages. I really think people are going to want more and more.
And not only that, I mean, we're bouncing ideas off each other, and a lot of times it made it sound as if I wanted to draw this. I did not want to draw this scene.
Well,
But as we built the world and talked about it, I thought, "Fuck, I'm gonna have to draw this crowd."
You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, it needs it.
And
If
it's
the
in
story requires
service. It's in service to the fun of the story, and the story is revealing itself to us as we go. That's the fun of bouncing ideas off each other, because it's not necessarily a story, a plot I had in mind. It was just I had 3 ideas of characters and gave them to Clint, and he chiseled them around, hammered them off, and then I guess when he did that, the plot started to show itself to him. Then he told me about that. Then I said, because you said that, we can have this scene. And one thing led to the next. And then when I said that to him, he built more plot. And then when he said that, I said, and then we could take it. Then it could go into these back alleys, and there could be these tech dealers. And he's, yeah. And so now it leaps into itself. It's fun.
I've been trying to segue into this question for like 20 minutes now. Okay.
Sorry about that.
No, please. It's fantastic. Yes, I was going to say that Zach had said in a video today that these people out there complaining about Keanu Reeves and everything, you don't even need to call them SJWs anymore. Just call them losers. That's what they are. They're losing. They're not able to figure out what's happening. You guys clearly with this, Clint, we're seeing massive increase in buzz and backers and everything for you, which is fantastic. So you guys are winning with what you're doing here. Where is this headed from here? So this is, you said it's a 52-page book. What's the future of FATL?
So with everything I do, I try really hard not to get ahead of myself. What I would love is just to make Fatal an ongoing series and just just
That's what I wanted
make
to hear.
more and more books. That's what I want to do. Goal one though right now is just to get this campaign as high as we can. I want Charlie to be working in comics full time, and that I want to be working in comics full time too. But to me, this is so important. I don't think people realize how important this campaign is, and that like he's done 10 pages, but doing a full story and having such a big part of a story, it's huge. If people want to see more of this kind of level of artwork, we got to get the word out to more people. And so that's sort of square one. And so we've got, I still felt like I have a ton to prove because, I've started from nowhere, basically. I'm not an industry veteran or anything like that. And so we're just trying to make this campaign as good as it can be, make this book as good as it can be. And I've got faith that people are going to love it and they're going to want more.
Yeah, I mean, you said it when we started. You said, where'd you come from? Who?
The same thing with Aaron Alfecci. The same thing happened with him, just out of nowhere. And now look at him, like
riding in from the high plains. And
we do have some questions from the chat that we should probably just touch on quickly in the last few minutes here. So William points out that he hears a lot of comic artists cite Frazetta. What is the connection between his painting style and comic line work? What do you think that is, Charlie?
He did tons of comics before he ever painted professionally. He and Al Williamson did tons of sci-fi and adventure comics and romance comics and war comics, all before Kirby and Stan Lee ever started up with the Fantastic Four. You go back and look at that stuff. It is the best. It is so good. Al Williamson's a little stiffer, but a little better of a draftsman, and Frazetta has a little more bounce and roll and anatomy and excitement. And you put those two guys together, they were pulling off of Wally Wood. I think Wally Wood came a little before them, and they were all these ghosts. They were doing comic strips in Sunday papers, and then a cartoony comic. Look, there's a great book called is it Funny Stuff? Something like that. And it's Frazetta drawing, I don't know, Warner Brothers looking cartoons. He was a comic artist before he was painting all those amazing covers. And to me, I prefer when the band does the acoustic set. To me, that was the acoustic set for Frazetta. All the stuff before the paintings.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Antoine wants to know, have you guys read The Long Tomorrow by Mobius and O'Bannon?
No,
I've not.
I haven't.
Yeah.
I've actually read very little of Mobius, but what I have, it's been very interesting. But yeah, there you go. Long Tomorrow. I'll remember that. I'll check that out.
I did just read the what's the French artist that did the sci-fi story that they made into a cruddy movie. 1,000 Planets. Yeah. Those
Valeria,
books are great.
I've got one here. Where is it? Oh, I won't be able to find it. But yeah, they're awesome.
I would have never picked them up as a kid because I would have thought our drawings are dull. This is not at all exciting. And I think I read them about a year ago and thought, these are incredible. Oh my goodness, they're so much fun.
It's funny how sometimes you don't really appreciate what's there until after you learn fundamentals of comic art, and then you come back to something and you see a whole bunch of stuff that you just never saw the first time around.
Yeah, as a young person, I didn't like Mignola. And maybe because I was young and I was looking at, Jim Lee. And then you go and look at Mignola and you think, well, this is so drab. What's happening? And then as an older, maybe in my nearer to 30, I picked up one and said, well, what's so big about this? And I read it and thought, oh my goodness, look at this is the reduction to the essentials. And the design work it's the best. It's the most fantastic design work possible. And how much he gets done with so little, and it's perfect. It's just it's phenomenal.
not coming from a comic book background either, that what you're talking about, reduction to the essentials and efficiency of line and all that sort of stuff, is still a massive mystery to me, and the people who can pull it off, I just look at with awe. Simonon has a question about a spaceport hangar in the distance. I'm not exactly sure
Yes,
what image we
I
were
can
over
confirm
when he
there
asked
are
that.
ports all over these things.
There you go.
If you scroll back up, I think it might have been the cover he might have been asking about.
I'll zoom in on this cover here.
The cover there, there's all sorts of, there's undiscovered country up there in those buildings in the top left that I think before we go to print, I'll be finishing that off with, lights and effects. I think I might have just run out of gas the first time I did it and said, I can't make any more lights back there. I can't. Yes.
Oh, I thought it was just dark, to balance out the emphasis. But okay.
Yeah, there'll be more effects and stuff. And yes, somebody just piped up with a chat about Lil Abner. Yes, Frazetta ghosted for Al Cap. Was that what Lil Abner was? Did you have that
Al Cap,
in the chat? And yeah, and then also who drew the Prince Valiant and the Edgar Rice Burroughs stuff?
Oh, my mind just went blank.
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah, never
who
ask
was that
me. I
artist?
don't remember
Ray?
names.
Was it
so-
Ray something?
Let me
I don't
see.
know. Antoine.
I'm not even sure.
Antoine, I am going to look that up. The Long Tomorrow Mobius. Everybody loves Mobius. I don't know anything about Mobius.
Yeah, I know a
Oh,
little
yes,
bit. I
Antoine.
know a little bit, but I don't know enough.
Yeah, this
Antoine.
entire Antoine
You got a
mentioned
little. You got a little
the-
vertigo. I am
Yeah.
trying to spin every picture for you a little bit.
Yeah, every image so far, and the colored ones especially, feels like I'm falling with the character.
Yeah,
Yes.
the way you've laid out the pages and all the panels. It really is. It's just nonstop energy.
Except
and
for
then
that
Clint
one,
is
I don't
saying-
feel like I'm falling in this one.
Well, you do have this sort of view from up high, almost. It's almost like you're on a second story balcony or something, looking down into this thing.
Yes,
and,
which is where the tyrannical matriarch comes from.
And
this one,
you're falling in love. Everybody's like, I want Kit. I want a back. Somebody said that. I want Kit's backstory, which is fascinating actually. When she's come from nothing basically to work in the palace, and I don't know. I'm like, that would be a great story. I'd love to write that story. But it's just fun to see just from the character designs. People are really interested in the characters.
Is that
what's kind of fun in that I guess ballroom, I don't know what to call it, scene is from what you described, it sounds like not societal commentary, no, societal satire. So I'm wondering, do you guys sneak in any more little satires of society throughout the book?
So there's this I think there's a little bit of social commentary. I don't want to try to hit anyone over it, and it's not political like from a particular standpoint, but there's just we kind of go, especially in the writing here, the dialogue, there's going to be word balloons for people in the crowd, and you kind of hear from their own mouths this you get the idea is you get this sense that they're almost lobotomized and they're just very content to be
Lobotomized.
Yeah,
they're in a bubble,
right? So it's almost, and we want to try and just that's the impression you get. You look over this room and there's explosions going on outside, but they're more concerned with their personal little drones that are injecting goodness right into their veins. They're more concerned about their own personal pleasures than really the safety of their future existence,
which is so much like us with our heads and cell phones constantly drinking beer.
Yeah. I mean, and we're all guilty of it, right?
Yep.
That's why we're not going to try and hit anybody over the head with any political point of view. We're going to coolly observe our world and reflect it in this other world, right? I mean, because that's kind of, we're going to have to base this of human. There's always humans on other worlds, right? How did they get there? Why are they there? But they've spread out through the galaxies, and they've gone far and wide, and they're going to have all the same appetites and flaws and problems that the humans that we interact with, today here on Earth. And
I just appreciate being shown that I need to laugh at myself when I see something like that. My head in my drone and my bowl of popcorn, and
Yeah. And it's universal too. That's the thing is I would think that it doesn't matter who you vote for or anything like that, and which is exactly I think how storytelling should be. We're human and we're kind of going for those more universal themes, that it affects everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Guys,
if you go down, there's more vertigo down. If you go down, go ahead. You were going to say something?
what's that? No, where am I going down?
All the way down to nearly the bottom. Go scroll.
Go.
He's on the side.
Prepare to
Too far.
vomit.
Too far. Go up a little more to the last. There you go. So here he is. He's about to go falling off the side of that thing. So the whole page is tilted, and so it's tilted because the page setup is behind it, and that's the rigid aspect of the layout, right? But the action and the floating is all unrigid. So the floating barge is tilted to its right on the left side of the page because it's a rickety, unsettled piece of equipment in a vertical piece of space. Then when he's throws this creature off of him, we're pulling back the other way to let you know it's a lot of weight to pull that way, and then give you the reverse angle to see that he's tossed all this weight the other way, and then he's running away again on diagonal. So the vertigo is there again, all to set up the complete vertigo that he's about to experience as he goes flying off the side. So I hope you feel the vertigo there too.
Yeah, I think when you, Charlie, were on Art T. Bear's channel, I mentioned that I really like your page and panel layouts. Just really well done.
Thank you. I am not going to be able to go to sleep tonight on a pillow.
Yeah, I know. And on top of that, add in the lettering as well. It really is. Just look at this. But guys, we do have to leave it there. My time is up. I've got to actually get back to work.
What do you do?
My extended lunch hour. I'm a graphic designer, of course.
What do you design?
That's all
graphics.
I work for a company. I'm not going to dox the company that I work for because there's crazy people out there. But
okay.
Well, you know about that, Clint.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit.
But thank you for having us on and being flexible at the time. I really appreciate that.
Sorry to get all fanboy gushy on you. Yeah.
It's been my pleasure, really. This book is, I mean, it's probably it's the book that I was most anticipating ever since I first saw it. So it's been a pleasure to go through it and talk all the art and everything. I just really love it. So yeah, thank you guys for taking the time as well. I know it was difficult. And Charlie had said to me earlier, I don't know how talkative I'm going to be on the stream, and I think he's,
I thought I'd be exhausted, but I made it.
Yeah, well, when people start stroking that ego, it all comes out.
Yes. I feel like a kitty cat.
Man, you deserve it. You really deserve it. And Clint, well done for snagging this guy.
Yeah, that's number one accomplishment on this one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I can't wait to read it. The story as well. It really sounds like you've fleshed out something really cool here. So anyway,
you outpoached Zach on that one.
Yeah,
That's true.
Blue and Joe, thank you guys for hanging out for 2 hours tonight. That's really generous of your time, and especially Joe for going that extra mile on the top of his head there.
I got it.
The Clint Stoker cut. Oh, look, matching.
Reminds me of the old days.
Yeah. No, I've been wearing a hat a lot.
And we do have to thank the wonderful chats who have turned out for 2 streams today. Thank you guys so much. Great comments, very funny, and good questions as well. Always a pleasure to see you guys here. And I think we'll see you tomorrow. I'm not sure what we're doing tomorrow, but I'm sure we'll have more fun then. All right, guys. Beautiful. We'll see you later. Bye.